Imagine getting isekai'd into a fantasy world only to realize you didn't go alone. Nope, the gods decided to bless you with the ultimate party member, your mom. And not just any mom, but a ridiculously overpowered, overly affectionate mom. That's what happened to this guy. So, is this the ultimate cheat code or the ultimate humiliation? Masato is filling out a survey while his mother, Mamako, prepares dinner. The survey is about his relationship with her. When Mamako serves him, she peeks at what he's doing, causing Masato to quickly hide the book and push her away, scolding her for not minding her business. The last question asks if he would like to go on an adventure with his mother. Masato thinks it's a silly question but responds that he does mind and signs his name at the end. The next day, Masumi visits them as part of the survey. Mamako excuses herself from their conversation and Masumi tells Masato that he is about to begin a new life. She asks if he feels the same way as other video game players who would love to be in the game. Masato agrees but he doesn't think it's possible. Masumi interrupts him in a say no more type of way and inputs a code on his laptop and suddenly there's a blinding light. Masato is in disbelief as he gets dragged into the world of the game. While he's enjoying his flight there, Mamako calls out for him to wait but bro is on cloud 9 and doesn't listen. He is just looking forward to the series of adventures he'll have, without his mother of course. Masato arrives in the new world and he sees mythical creatures. It's like a dream come true for him. Next thing you know, another person arrives, it's his mother. Masato's mood drops immediately. Mamako comes prepared and eager for adventures with him. They appear in the teleportation palace where the king receives them. He asks for their names and registers them as players without giving Masato a heads up as he wanted to register with a nickname. The king shows them their basic stats and explains their roles in the game. Masato and his mother are both normal heroes who are not expected to do anything grand to save the world. The king explains that the game is in the beta phase and a few players have been summoned to test it. He also tells them everything they need to know about the game. Mamako, who is unfamiliar with video games, asks a silly question and both Masato and the king are shocked. The king doesn't even stress and tells her she will learn from Masato as they progress, giving her a guidebook just in case. As the king prepares to take them to the next event, Masato asks why his mother was isekai'd too. The king mentions it's intertwined with the game's purpose, which Masato will discover during his journeys. To distract him from asking more questions, the king offers Masato a first-time player bonus. He leads them to a room containing 3 swords. The king informs them that these swords are a reward for completing the game's most difficult quests, but players won't play the game unless they're given something great to start with. Masato picks the middle sword following his gut feeling. The king praises his choice, claiming he'll lead the world to a new dimension as a true hero. Mamoto takes the remaining 2 swords and the others are surprised by how easily she pulled them out. Next, they engage in a tutorial battle, during which Mamako defeats the opponents effortlessly while Masato is busy studying the guide. There's an attack from the air and Mamako leaves that to Masato, who misses and hits a bird instead. Mamako still cheers for him anyway. Masato feels disappointed in himself, wondering why his mom received a 2-hit multi-target attack for her basic skill while his attack is lame. Mamako tries to reassure him that his attack was amazing but he's not having it. He tells her to go on adventures by herself and leave him out of it. He also suspects that she knows why she's in the game with him but is keeping it from him. Mamako explains that she cannot reveal certain information as she was instructed to keep it a secret. Masato ends up crashing out. He threatens to disown her if she doesn't start talking. This causes Mamako to cry and she apologizes, explaining that she doesn't know how much she can tell him and that Masumi and the others have their reasons for not wanting him to know just yet. Masato regrets yelling at her and apologizes, which she immediately accepts. Mamako tells Masato that she wants to go on a lot of adventures with him and asks to join his party. Masato agrees. They make their way to the Adventurers Guild in the Kingdom of Mamalia. On the way, Masato can see that the programmers couldn't get the character models finished in time, so they're mannequin-looking people around. Upon arrival, Mamako makes a grand entrance for them by damaging a part of the building. Masato is shocked. He is worried they might receive a penalty. Masumi comes out to welcome them as the front desk woman, and she's bleeding. She takes them in, and Masato is worried about her, but she reassures him that she's fine. She's just an in-game object, not a player or NPC, so there won't be any PK penalties involved. Masato is relieved. Masumi then gives him a list of registered adventurers in the guild so he can choose potential party members. Masato has a few adventurers he would like to interview, and Mamako advises him to be extra careful in selecting his party members. According to her, finding a party member is the same thing as finding a girlfriend or marriage partner, which is why she decides to take over and interview the candidates herself. Mamako rejects all Masato's picks for party members. Then, another candidate, Porter, is also a text player. She is a merchant, and one of her basic skills gives her a discount when shopping or staying at an inn. She's like a walking coupon. Porter also has a special merchant-only bag that she received as a new player bonus, which can store 30 items no matter how big or heavy they are. Mamako welcomes Porter to the team for her useful skills, even though she can't fight. Masato is surprised by this decision, but continues searching for the next candidate. He comes across Wise's paper. She is a sage, and Porter fills them in on information about her. On the button of Wise's paper, she threatens to cast an instant death spell on them if they don't choose her. Masato doesn't care. He doesn't like her vibe. He folds up the paper and tosses it away, but the paper straightens up and comes right back to the stack. He tries again and again, but it keeps straightening up, so he finally drops it and steps on it. A girl's scream is heard and Wise transforms back into her human form. She yells at Masato for crossing the line and then casts a transport spell on both of them, taking him to a new location where she then steps on him as revenge. Once she finally releases him, Masato asks what she wants. Was she trying to get their attention by transforming into paper, and does she really want to join their team that badly? Wise agrees, and Masato decides to give her an interview. Meanwhile, Masumi informs Mamako that they couldn't find Masato. Mamako is worried and Porter tries to reassure her that they'll find him. However, Mamako says she just feels something bad will happen, like Masato becoming friends with another person. Wise tells Masato that she also joined the game as a test player. She knows why Masato's mother came with him and explains that the goal of the game is to help parents and children become closer. That's why they are brought into the game in pairs and told to go on adventures together. Wise adds that they cannot return to the real world unless they fulfill the win condition of strengthening their bond with their mothers. So, basically everyone in the game has mummy issues. Back at the guild, Masumi tells Mamako to believe strongly in the bond between her and Masato and speak to the earth, as it's a mother too. Wise mentions that she was adventuring with her mother too, but they had an argument and split up, and she has been alone ever since. She has also been trying to clear the game so she can go home, and she wants Masato's mother to take her as her child. Masato catches the nasty look on Wise's face. Just then, Mamako requests help from the earth to find Masato, and the ground beneath them begins to rise, throwing them off. This allows Mamako to spot Masato, and she earns a support skill that enables her to find him at any time and immediately interrupt whatever he is doing. Wise is arrested and she protests about it. Mamako tells Wise that Masato has shared her intentions, but she cannot be Wise's mother. However, she is willing to accept her into the party and promises that if they encounter Wise's mother on their journey, they'll help them reconcile. Wise bluntly refuses to make up with her mother and sulks, turning away from the others. Masato feeds her ego and tells her that she will be very important, eventually convincing her to join the party. They make their way to the entrance of a dungeon, planning to defeat some monsters to earn money. While they're a bit hesitant, Mamako slips and falls inside, dragging everyone else in as they try to hold her back. When they land, it's dark and no one has a light source. When they land, it's dark and no one has a light source. Mamako tries to encourage them and her body starts to glow. She gains a special skill called Mother's Light. Wise remembers that her mother could also glow. Once inside the dungeon, they are greeted by slimes and Wise attempts to cast a magic spell. However, the slimes seal her magic. Mamako swings into action and by a swing of her sword, she causes spikes to grow, defeating the slimes. With the seal broken, Wise regains her magic and Porter goes to collect gems dropped by the slimes. Mamako also levels up, and it's the first time Masato sees what it looks like. The name of the game should be Watch Your Mother Level Up While You're Useless. Just as Porter is done, a slime drops, then a lot of them start falling, making Porter run back to the others. Wise tries to cast a spell, and the slimes seal her magic again. The slimes merge to become a bigger slime and start pouring out slime goo. Masato pushes his mother out of the way, but it has already gotten on her. Mamako's clothes start melting off, exposing her. Masato tries to get up, but it's too slippery, and he keeps falling back on Mamako. It's a sight the others can't bear to watch. Mamako is already red in the face, and when she manages to get out from under Masato, the slime pours out on her again as if waiting for an opportunity to undress her. The remaining clothes on her melt too. Wise is finally able to cast a spell on, but that doesn't end it, so Masato prepares to fight, but Mamako is quicker. She's going to carry her revenge on it for exposing her in front of her son. She strikes with her spikes and defeats the giant slime. Mamako is happy about her victory and begins glowing. Masato tells her to put some clothes on, and Porter comes to the rescue by giving Mamako an apron to wear. Suddenly, Wise points to the top of the slime pile. There is a coffin, and the lid breaks off, revealing Masumi inside. Wise revives her with magic. Masumi is now a mysterious nun and offers them a special quest as a thank you. They are to head to a small farming village known as Maman. When they arrive at the village to buy equipment, Mamako is more interested in food items, and Masato doesn't like this at all. The next morning, the party members enjoy breakfast made from the ingredients Mamako bought the previous day. The food is so delicious that Wise is brought to tears. Masato reminds everyone of their special quest and says that as soon as they finish eating, they will go to get equipment. Everyone agrees. The seller first shows them a bikini armor, and Mamako tries it on. Masato is against it because it shows too much skin. Mamako then tries on different outfits, and Masato is tired. The last item is a robe of healing, mostly worn by healers and magic users. Porter warns that it's a bad idea since Mamako can't equip it, but she decides to put it on anyway. When Masato asks Porter what would happen if one ignored class restrictions, she admits she doesn't know. Just then, they hear Mamako scream from the dressing room and everyone rushes in to help her. The robe refuses to go past her face. While waiting for the others to finish trying on their equipment, Masato complains to Wise that it's not much of an adventure with his mother around, and it still feels like a normal life. Mamako arrives with clothes she bought for everyone during shopping, and Masato scolds her for being too excited since arriving there. Mamako responds that she is just happy to go on adventures with him. Masato loses it. He accuses her of being too meddlesome, saying hurtful things that even Wise cannot help but say he is being too mean. Porter is sad too. Mamako apologizes to Masato, and he feels guilty for always reacting harshly toward her. She offers him a chance to lay his head on her lap for a tickle, but Masato refuses, embarrassed by the idea of being watched by the others. Eventually, he folds, and as Mamako cleans his ears, he finds it relaxing. He uses the opportunity to tell her that he doesn't always mean the hurtful thing he says, but Mamako understands and begins to glow. Wise and Porter are happy to see them make up. They arrive at Maman village, where the mayor informs them that a demon called the Empress of the Night has appeared. She has incredible powers and demanded that they give her the best-looking guy in the village as a sacrifice if they value their lives. Wise seems to know the woman. The mayor adds that the sacrifice must be handed over that night, and the villagers had lost hope until Masato's party showed up. The mayor confesses that he planned on hosting them well and making sure they didn't leave until the Empress showed up. Masato agrees to help them. The mayor then tells him to enjoy the village's hot spring first. Masato is the first in the hot spring, having a good time. He is then joined by Mamako, who hides his face, so Wise and Porter can also come in. Porter dives in, but Wise hesitates until Mamako tells her she has a shot at becoming her daughter. As they relax in the hot spring, they try to gather information about the Empress of the Night. None of them knows much, so Wise steps up to fill them in. Everyone is surprised that she knows so much, and she almost reveals that the Empress is her mother, but lies that, claiming it was a rumor she heard before joining them. Masato finds this soothes and Wise overreacts, standing up to defend herself. She then realizes she is standing bare before Masato. Masato braces himself to be blasted by some dangerous magic spell, while Mamako and Porter reassure Masato that he would come back to life if anything happened. Wise tries to laugh off her embarrassment but ends up crying and running out. Masumi confronts the Empress of the Night, Kazuno, whose throne is made up of hot boys. Masumi tries to warn Kazuno that her actions are different from what the game's designers intended, but she doesn't care. When Masumi tries to erase her from the system, she finds herself unable to due to Kazuno's special powers. She then strikes Masumi down and, just before stabbing her with magic, Masumi reveals that Wise and her party are nearby. Kazuno then finishes her off. Back in Mamen village, Masato, having just showered and enjoying some Mamen milk, hears a knock on the door. It's Wise, asking to talk. He assumes she is there to punish him for the hot spring incident and asks that she at least put on some clothes. Wise assures him she just wants to talk. She tells Masato that she plans to go for a stroll in the forest and invites him to join her. Masato tells her she's acting weird and adds that he knows what's going on between her and the Empress. Wise becomes angry and tries to leave, but Masato rushes after her, accidentally knocking her down and falling on her. Just then, Mamako comes out and catches them in this weird position, joking about them dating, which they both deny. Later that night, Masato urges Wise to share what is happening. Mamako has also figured out Wise's connection to the Empress. Wise has no choice but to tell them. She narrates how she was never close to her mother, who often spent her time in host clubs. Wise explains that her parents divorced and she stayed with her dad. Then one day, her mother came back urging her to play the game and forcing them to patch things up. After Kazuno figured she was strong and could make lots of money, she began fooling around in the game and they got into a big fight which led to their separation. Wise gets worked up explaining everything. She adds that her relationship with her mom is over, but Mamako goes up to her telling her it's never over between a mother and a child because they have a connection that can never be broken. Wise still doesn't accept it, so Mamako shows her. She hugs Wise and asks how she feels. It feels good, but something is missing. It's not a familiar feeling. Wise realizes that she does need her mom to feel complete, and the others promise to help her get back together with her mother. Wise recalls the memories of the time she spent with her mom and their argument. She wakes up, wondering how she fell asleep. Porter says it's Mamako's lab effect, while Masato mocks her, causing her to cast a spell that summons something to attack him. The group begins their journey to find the Empress, where they come across Masumi's coffin. Wise resurrects Masumi, who is grateful but reminds her that they forgot to remove the tree branch pinning her to the tree, so she ends up dying again. After reviving her for the second time, Masumi shares additional information about Kazuno. Wise admits that Kazuno is an embarrassment to their family. Masumi adds that Kazuno has an invincible defense skill that isn't part of the game, some cheating tool she acquired from the outside world. Masumi explains that Kazuno's illegal actions could lead to punishment and a huge fine. However, she offers to write a favorable report to her superior if they can patch things up well. The party members agree to the plan, and Masumi opened the portal, dragging Kazuno in. They initially wanted to talk things out, but Kazuno is all about action and starts attacking. Her first spell conjures lava, which Wise counters with ice rain. Kazuno then controls the trees to close in on them, making Mamako use her multi-hit attack. Masato instructs Porter to stay close to Mamako while he looks around for Masumi just to realize she is already dead once again. At this point, the afterlife must be getting bored of seeing her face. The trees close in on Porter and Mamako, and Masato can't break through. Kazuno lets out a maniac laugh and traps all of them in a strange room. Wise asks what this room is, and Kazuno replies that it was an anonymous gift, claiming that everything she wishes for in there comes to pass. She then summons three weird-looking creatures and accuses Wise of ruining her attempts to fix things between them. Wise admits that she said some hurtful things out of anger, and Kazuno says she regrets having children, as they are the worst and are always causing trouble. Wise tries to apologize, but Kazuno is not interested in hearing her out and orders one of her weird creatures to attack Wise, ending her. Masato is pissed but tries talking sense into Kazuno. He tells her that he's just like Wise, saying things he doesn't mean, but his mother never treats him like that. He asks Kazuno to forgive Wise, but instead, she releases every mother's rage on him. Masato struggles to hold off the attack, but it's proving too difficult. Just then, Mamako breaks free from the prison to defend Masato, who is already too weak. Mamako has too much aura. She's literally smoking. She addresses Kazuno, mother to mother, telling her relatable things. Masato joins her, ready to fight Kazuno. Mamako attacks, and Kazuno raises a barrier, but she gets a scratch on her face. Mamako is bent on making sure the mother and daughter reconcile, so she fights with all her might. Masato discovers a weakness in Kazuno's barrier, and Porter gives him an item that he throws in, sealing Kazuno's magic. Kazuno uses her weird creatures, but Mamako defeats two of them. Wise, who has been resurrected by Porter, uses her magic to destroy the remaining creature. She also fires at Kazuno, scattering Kazuno's hot dude collection, causing them to flee. Kazuno refuses to give up and develops wings to try to escape, but Masato strikes her down with an air attack, and Mamako delivers a final blow, hitting her down. As Kazuno falls, she cannot believe she lost, but Wise rushes to catch her before she hits the ground. Wise tells her she can never hate her no matter what and really wants to make up. Kazuno also regrets her actions, and they make up. Mamako and Masato are pleased that everything has worked out in the end. However, in the very next moment, Wise and Kazuno begin arguing again, and the others realize that this won't change easily. The next day, as they continue their journey, Masato asks Wise why she is still around, as she has already cleared the game by reconciling with her mother, who has logged out. Wise replies that she wants to stay a little longer because the party needs her. Suddenly, Masumi appears on a screen, informing them about their next quest. With Mamako leading the way, they set off on their next adventure. As they make their way, they encounter some enemies. Before the others can do anything, Momoko has got it covered and quickly defeats them all. Wise wonders why they exist since they're quite useless. Masato agrees, saying he'll never get stronger if he keeps fighting ordinary battles, wishing there was another way to get stronger. As if on cue, a balloon flies by, dropping a quest invitation flyer seeking people to take an academy entrance test. Momoko sees him with it and permits him to try it out. The trio arrives at Lover's Lane Academia. According to the flyer, the reward for passing the entrance test is something they each have always needed, and everything seems a bit sus to Masato. Porter asks if it's okay to leave Momoko behind, and Masato replies that it's fine. He then bumps into another student and is surprised by her beauty. She asks if they're a student there, to which they respond that they're about to enroll. Just as Midi is about to introduce herself, her mother, Medimama, interrupts. She questions who Masato is, and he introduces himself and his party members. Midi and her mother are also test players, and Medimama goes on to brag about how great they both are and have probably completed more quests than Masato's party. She boasts about her daughter's skills and how obedient she is, adding that Midi is very talented and they won't be able to do better than her. After her long-winded speech, Medimama calls Midi away, not allowing her to make any friends. Masato thinks his school life will be great since he has met a pretty girl. When they enter the classroom, they realize the faces of the other students are a result of lazy programming. The teacher, Gruff, tells them not to worry about it. He then informs them that it's a special short-term class. He notices there are 3 of them instead of 4. Masato realizes someone will be joining them and assumes it's his mother, calling out to her as he opens the door. To his surprise, it is Midi who enters. They all tease him for mistaking her for his mother. Midi introduces herself to the class, stating that she is a healer. She tells Masato she's happy to share a class with him, calling it fate. Masato feels flustered, believing this is what was missing from his adventures. A lovely heroine. Suddenly, Medimama enters saying she'll be participating in the class as well. Gruff tries to prevent her from joining, but she insists on being there to ensure Medi is the best in any situation. Medimama scolds Masato for standing too close to Medi and calls her over. As the class begins, the teacher asks a question, and Medi quickly answers, earning SP points. When Masato tries to answer the next question, Medimama stops him from raising his hand, which allows Medi to respond again. Wise attempts to answer the following question but ends up acting weird due to Medimama's spell. She proceeds to put the entire class to sleep, except for Masato, whose armor grants him partial resistance against status effects. However, Medhima doesn't give up until he eventually falls asleep. After class, Wise complains to Masato about Medhimama, but Masato suggests they should address it with her, but she's not there anymore. Just then, an announcement informs Masato that a new heroine is waiting for him outside. Masato rushes out, assuming it's Medi, only to be met by his mother in a school uniform. Masato is disappointed but tries to hide it. He then scolds Momoko for putting on something so small and asks why she is there after sending them off. Suddenly, Masumi appears from a tree and jumps down. Masato is even more disappointed seeing as Masumi is involved, while the others mock him for expecting a heroine, which causes him to be more embarrassed. Masumi introduces herself as the principal of the school. She mentions that the school was built quickly to ward off overbearing parents. Masato realizes that Masumi had put the item on the list as bait to get them here. She then tells them that their mission is to handle problems between parents and children that the GMs cannot. Masumi says she can't help them since she has a lot of investigation to do, as the school was built very quickly and has many dangerous bugs. As she's speaking, she encounters one that immediately ends her, much to the surprise of the party members. When they return to class, Momoko is their perfect student, and Masato protests that she's not even an actual student. Gruff wants to overlook it, but Momoko says it's true. Gruff then allows her to participate as an observer, giving her a seat next to Medhimama, who begins bragging about how talented her daughter is. The class begins, and Gruff asks a question. Everyone thinks about it for a moment, and Medhimama is about to cast a sleeping spell on the students to give Medi more time, but no one is sleeping. Masato realizes his mother's armor is hindering the spell's effect, though neither Medimama nor Momoko realizes this. Masato then decides to focus on solving the problem, but Momoko already has the answer, and Masato tells her she's not supposed to interrupt their class, but Gruff says it's okay and gives her a chance. Momoko answers correctly and there's even a bright light surrounding her. Masato finds it ridiculous, and Gruff gives her more points than usual. At the end of the class, Momoko has more points than everyone, seconded by Medi. Medimama is upset about this and tells Medi that they'll talk about it later. Momoko is excited about the day and tells the others they should have fun again the next day. Masato hurries to school, leaving Momoko behind. He needs a breathing space to breathe and relate with his dream heroine, Midi. Just then, Midi joins him in his race to school, and she's probably trying to escape her mom too. They don't talk for long before, unfortunately for Masato, Momoko catches up. Medimama also makes an appearance, dressed as a student, just like Momoko. She's ready to not let what happened before repeat itself, and to, together with her daughter, triumph over everyone else. Momoko's spirit is high, and she doesn't seem like she's planning on going easy on anyone. What may have seemed like parents just observing their children's class may have turned into a mommy duel. Masato vaguely hears mumbling but doesn't know where it's from. Medi had just quietly expressed her disgust for her mom's behavior, just under her breath, before joining her mother, moving ahead into the school. The lesson for the day is on item creation, basically a cooking class. Momoko observes, along with Medhimama, who encourages her daughter to win while the students take their positions to begin. Wise believes they are at a disadvantage because they are part of the combat class, but Masato assures her they'll be fine, as they have Porter, who is great at item creation. Porter confidently works on her eggs, turning them into hard-boiled eggs which are easy to take off the shells, but her amazing feat is followed up by Wise's omelet gone rogue, as she turns hers into something that'll make Plankton's chum seem like McDonald's. Masato's turn is even more disastrous, as he managed to turn his eggs into a grenade. Away from their failure is Meaty, who is probably Ramsay Gordon's mentor, creating perfect dishes despite being in the combat class, and she gets awarded some points. Just as Masato is admiring Midi's awesomeness, Wise gives him a quick eye-opener. Looking closely, Medi Mama is aiding Midi, casting an illusion to make whatever taste bud trauma she's cooking look good. Masato doesn't want to believe this and decides to find out for himself. He requests to try the food out, and Midi lets him, although she says she isn't sure if it tastes good or dangerously otherwise. Taking a spoonful, he looks like he's just tasted World War II. He compliments the food and survives just long enough to get back to his desk before having vertigo. This goes to show the lengths Medi Mama would go to ensure Medi's victory, because this isn't even food poisoning anymore. Food poisoning would feel threatened by it. Just then, Masato notices Mamako quietly cooking. According to her, she decided to make something as well, and she asks Masato to taste it. The meal is quite hot, but she blows it down a bit just before giving it to Masato, who is feeling embarrassed the whole time. After tasting the meal, Masato gets awarded a boost in his item creation success rate. Just as he suspected, the points are owing to some new and very convenient skill his mom somehow acquired. At this point, her cheat code is giving Saitama's one punch. Masato finds this ridiculous, but Wise and Porter are ready to harness this, and they get their share as Mamako blows on their portions as well, and they drink it. As they put their upgraded abilities to the test, everything turns out perfectly fine and is admired by the whole room. They get awarded high points each, and Mamako congratulates them with a hug. They receive a lot of accolades from the students, but Medi Mama rebukes and stops Medi from complimenting them. She complies and just stands there, downbeat. Masato only observes. After classes, Masato and the others are about to ingest a large amount of food and only wonder if they'll be able to finish it. Just then, Mamako arrives with containers to preserve some leftovers, and Porter offers to put them in her bag where they won't go bad. Just then, Masumi, the anime version of Kenny McCormick from South Park, joins them. She introduces herself as usual and declines the invitation to join them for their meal. Away from all her weirdness and beating around the bush, she takes Mamako's measurements and grimly advises them to eat properly before the next class, indicating its severity as dramatically as she can possibly make it seem. Masato doesn't like the sound of this. The next class is on swimming, and Masato isn't surprised, just depressed thinking about the fact that his mom would be participating and most likely in a swimsuit. He quickly switches up when Midi talks to him, concerned about his mood. Medi Mama arrives in her swimsuit, getting the spotlight for a brief moment until Mamako arrives. While everyone fawns over her look, Masato just needs someone to shoot him down. He walks into the pool, comfortably drowning because why not? Medi Mama, on the other hand, couldn't be more pissed. Just then, Medi mocks her mom, but again, subtly. So subtle that Masato thinks it's Wise who said something. The swim class is about to resume, and while Medi Mama is urging Medi to be first and win, Mamako is more like being supportive instead. The combat class and the crafters are to work together, with the combat class defeating the monsters and the crafters making items out of their drops. The two categories would have to work together to get good grades. It begins and the students rush into the pool, battling the monsters. Masato can't join them as he's more conversant with aerial combat. Midi has already begun swimming, and as soon as she finds a monster, she easily takes it down. Medi Mama is proud and gloats about how she trained Midi and how Midi is this and that. Masato snaps out of being impressed and locks in, diving into the pool to battle like Aquaman in his best form, and his mom cheers him on. He doesn't swim for long when he comes across a monster, takes a swing at it, ending it, and then takes a piece of it back. Porter takes over from here, transforming the piece into some food materials which they later prepare. Wise is totally helpless on her own. Hence, she joins up with Masato, preparing the meal with Portable as if her life depended on it. Masato heads back to work, and Midi is already doing a lot, and she mentions she doesn't plan on holding back. Masato admires this a lot. The only thing is, he also has to come out on top. As Masato searches for something that'll be a game changer for him, he sets his eyes on a trump card looking monster. But Medi also needs that win, so they swim after the monster. Medi Mama pressurizes Medi to swim quickly while Mamako only wishes for Masato to stay safe and not overdo it, and what matters is that he doesn't hurt himself. She says to her, Masato would always be a good medalist. These words motivate Masato, who was already giving in to fatigue, while on the other hand, Medi loses the will to continue owing to her mother's ranting. She stops swimming and goes up to the surface. Masato checks up on her just in time for another of her subtle bashing of her mom, and this time she wishes her mom gets unalived. Just then, a monster emerges from the pool. It's supposed to be terrifying, but it just looks like a mashed mellow with braids. It doesn't attack anyone but goes after Mamako. Porter quickly hands Mamako her sword, and she's able to free herself as well as launch the monster into the air. This is a perfect opportunity for Masato, and he seizes it, ending the monster. At the end of the day, Masato emerges in the top spot, despite not taking down as many monsters as Midi. His last-minute win over the rare monster really gave him an edge. Masato rejoices with Porter while Wise feels she took down more monsters, given the amount she has eaten. Sure thing, Wise. Mamako joins to celebrate her son but only makes Masato feel embarrassed. Just then, a slap is heard across the room, basically the sound of Medi Mama whooping her daughter for taking second place. She scolds Medi for losing, and Medi only apologizes. She's upset and runs out of the room just as Masato tries talking. Masato goes after her, but so does Mamako, who, just like Masato, has noticed Midi acting off sometimes. They overhear commotion, and taking a peek, they find Midi crashing out. As much as Masato wants to keep his perfect heroine dream going, he admits he saw this coming. During their meeting, Masato brings up the topic of Midi and her mother, considering the swimming event earlier. Everyone but Wise doesn't have a problem with this. She doesn't understand why they'd care, as it doesn't concern any of them. Masato explains that as someone who has had issues with his mother, he can relate to her feelings and wants to help. This is personal according to Masato. He needs their help, and Wise finally agrees, but reluctantly. Porta also agrees, although she isn't quite herself. Staying in water for too long messes with her up, and she gets rushed out. In school, a festival is announced impromptu, and Masato rejoices before getting worked up that the festival wasn't announced beforehand. Mr. Gruff says the festival exercise is to assess how they handle emergencies. They are to form up groups and parents are allowed to join in. This is horror for Masato, and he isn't done digesting the fact that his mom would be joining them when Mamako comes along. Mamako pitches an idea, setting up a cafe for the festival, as she's confident she can cook a thing or two. Masato has no words, but Wise and Porter love the plan and agree. Medi Mama, seeing Mamako's plan to set up a cafe, decides to do the same. Everything is a competition to her. The idea is to see who sells more, and literally everyone but her doesn't get the point. The festival is in full swing and the school is decorated. Masato is getting some groceries wherever he's going when he comes across a dude asking Mamako out. His mother. She appreciates the gesture but refuses, as she's a mother. Either that or the dude has literally the same face as about half the characters in the game. The last-minute characters drawn under the pressure of a deadline. Just then, Midi joins him. She mentions that Mamako has been really popular of late, getting a lot of letters and confessions. Masato tries not to think too much about it, not like he'll challenge any of the suitors to a duel. That being settled, Midi apologizes for her mother's behavior earlier, the cafe competition instigation. She defends that her mother does all she does for her sake and asks that Masato tolerate it for the time being. Masato is concerned, as she seems like a very different person from the one who threw tantrums about her mom's behavior the other day. Midi expresses that she doesn't like causing problems for others but believes in her mother. Just as Masato is about to respond, an announcement interrupts them, signaling the festival's start. As expected, the turnout from Mamako's cafe is massive as customers queue up like Avengers. Endgame's ticket sales. It's like if Sydney Sweeney and Sabrina Carpenter worked as sales girls at a local store. The orders are way too many that Masato and the others are worried, but Mamako is fine with it and is trying her best to feed the hungry children, or rather, hungry fan base. On the other hand, Medi Mama's place is a ghost town. Even Serenity has left the place and gone to Mamako's. Medhima Mama has to do something about this, and her clever plan is to make Medi wear a swimsuit and lure customers to their cafe, which isn't okay, but since when did Medhi Mama mind morality? As they're preparing for this, Masato walks in on them. He came to check on Medi. Medhi Mama doesn't waste any time in looking for a justifiable reason to clip Masato, pointing out that he has seen Medi mid-swimsuit look. Masato is ready for whatever punishment, and Medhi Mama does the literal worst type. She casts a spell that gives Masato a Mortal Kombat type finisher, and he's down like the new Megumi. Just then he transforms to an astral form thanks to the weird game updates and whatever, and they can't see him. Medhi Mama doesn't revive Masato yet despite Medi's request. She gets back to business, but this time her idea has slightly changed. She wants Medi to influence Masato with her charm and control him to destroy his cafe. Medi isn't fine with this, but it's not like Medhi Mama would listen anyway. She casts a spell to make Medi more good-looking, and the spell takes effect. Masato is just surprised at the lengths Medhi Mama would go to win. She's really bent on winning. Masato is finally back to his normal body and just standing alongside Wise and Porter as they watch in boredom as Mamako's cafe gets the attention of almost everyone. Just then, Medi comes along, attempting to carry out her mission. She asks Masato to take a walk with her and drags him off. During their walk, she tries saying nice things and being cute and all, but Masato, knowing the plan already, doesn't fall for this. Masato stops Medi and points out that he knows everything. Realizing this, she starts feeling bad and low-key losing it, trash-talking Medhi Mama. She's already emitting bad energy like she's about to Hulk out when, just then, Medhi Mama pulls up and Medi's crash out ceases. Masato can't hold back anymore and confronts Medhi Mama about everything, from the pressure on Medi to the pointless competitions. Masato respectfully asks her to stop, but Medhi Mama refuses, stating that her competitions aren't for fun and that they can't stop until it's over. Given that the odds of the competition are already heavily in Mamako's favor, Masato points out that the competition is clearly over. It's like the Krusty Krabs versus the Chum Bucket. You'd think Medhi Mama would gain some sense after this heavily mismatched versus, but she doesn't accept defeat. She goes for another one, a beauty contest, which she believes she stands a chance at winning. The contest begins, and there's a cheer meter to show how much the audience cheers for a particular contestant. The winner is decided depending on how high the rating is on the cheer meter. Medi is the first contestant, and although she's clumsy, she gets a lot of cheers and admirers, raising her cheer rating to almost a perfect level with 90 points. Wise is up next, and almost as if Masato can see the future, he predicts she'll flop. Wise is confident and tries to recreate what Medi did, but it turns out to be really cringe. The audience is quiet, and only Porter cheers. Wise receives a generous 2 points on the cheer meter, only because Porter became a literal banshee. The second-hand embarrassment. Wise, as expected, bashes the crowd and the officiator, but that doesn't change a thing. The competition comes to an end, and Medhi Mama is confident they've won, but there's a twist. There's a last call for anyone who wants to participate, and making an entrance almost as neat as Captain Marvel in the battle against Thanos is Mamako. She casually walks up the stage with a pot just to ask Wise to help heat up the food with her firepower. After this is done, she goes ahead to try and advertise her meal. The crowd goes wild, and her cheer meter rating hits its limit to Masato's surprise. Medhi Mama is agitated. Mamako is awarded the winner of the competition. I'd hate to be Medhi Mama, growling like a Power Rangers villain after losing a battle. With the competition being concluded, Masato steals Medi for a bit to have a word, and Wise as well as Porter join them. Mamako doesn't even grasp the scenario, as she's surprised at the turn of events, but she notices Masato leaving. Masato and the others stop away from the festival. They had pulled Medi out of there so her mother wouldn't start being a jerk to her. Wise asks how long Medi plans on being Medhi Mama's slave, adding that it wouldn't be the same case for her as she has a will of her own. Medi has a will of her own, and when asked, confides that she wants to enjoy what she does. It's a festival, and she wants to have fun with her friends, but she claims she has no friends. Masato and the others all kick against the mindset, stating they are her friends. Their little one-piece friendship moment goes on with them, basically consoling and assuring Medi, who feels bad because they're still nice to her after all Medi Mama has done. Medi bursts out in tears, stating she wants to do a lot of fun things with her friends, but just then, Medi Mama crashes the party. She has Medi in a chokehold and asks what she's doing. Medi explains that she wants to be friends with Masato and the others, but Med Mama snaps at her, stating that all that matters is winning and not friends. She's so frustrated that she is about to hit Medi when Mamako blitzes in and intervenes, blocking the swing. Medi Mama couldn't be more irritated at the presence of Mamako. Mamako starts the famous talk no jutsu, believing she can cook Medi Mama down. She understands how Medi Mama feels, trying to make her child win, but points out that her means are cruel. But they've got Medi Mama wrong all this time. This isn't only to make Medi win, but to establish herself as the #1 mother. So basically everything she has done has been for herself. At least that's what her little comeback speech entailed. At this point, Medi doesn't hold back anymore. All this time she believed her mom did everything for her, not knowing it was all for selfish reasons. She feels betrayed and lets her dark side take over, unleashing her full strength. She transforms into a monster filled with rage. Medi is on a rampage, destroying everything. Honestly, she could have done without the banks, it just takes away the scare factor. Masato and the others can't do anything but take cover, while Medi Mama decides to rage bait Medi, saying daughters who don't listen to their mothers turn ugly, given that Medi became a monster. Medi just gets angrier and angrier, causing damage like she's auditioning to be Godzilla in the -1 sequel. Medi Mama blames Masato for how things turned out and is about to hit him when Mamako appears from nowhere to block her. If she loves hitting kids that much, she should try Kid Bo. Mamako asks Masato and the others to go for Medi while she deals with Medi Mama, because someone really needs to. These kids charge at a monster like it's an ice cream truck. Medi Mama is still all about competitions, saying they'll duel to find out who the best mom is. She starts the attack, creating monsters to attack Mamako, who isn't even phased. Mamako kindly asks them to be calm while she talks to Medi Mama, and they legit comply and exit. Medi Mama is stunned. Who wouldn't be? She asks what Mamako did, and Mamako explains that she asked, not ordered. A difference Medi Mama has yet to learn. There's more talk no jutsu, basically lecturing Medi Mama about proper parenting as Mamako sheathes her swords. Masato and the others continue to battle Medi and are having quite a lot of trouble with it. Wise is low on magical power and Masato is struggling with the defense. He switches to his mom's technique, trying to talk things through. He says he knows how she feels. Medi points out that Masato has a great mom, but on the contrary, Masato states the downsides. Having his mom follow him into the game, the cringe experiences that may leave him scarred. He says it's sickening. Back to Mamako and Medi Mama, and we're yet to see some hands, and Mamako is taking the peaceful path and even glows while making her speech. The light is everywhere, even getting the attention of Masato and the others. According to Porter, it's a skill that draws power from the feelings of mothers from all over to Mamako, enabling her to spread her message when she has something she truly has to share. Masato uses this as an example. His game fantasy is shattered given that his mom joined him, is overpowered, and makes him basically useless. But he points out that it doesn't mean he'll throw tantrums. As Mamako's speech goes on, Medi Mama's staff cracks and almost like a spell is lifted, everything is starting to dawn on her. She recalls saying she did everything for herself and feels bitter, wondering why she said that. Mamako comforts her and ends her speech. Medi Mama remembers all her happy moments with Medi, and after the session, she tries to grasp the situation and what has happened to Medi. Medi is now a dragon with K-pop banks, that's what. Masato still tries to reach Medi, telling her to say what's on her mind to her mother, adding that although he hasn't done that, he feels that it is the right thing. Just then, Medi is fed up with listening to the nonsense and sweeps him away with her tail. I mean, a little action wouldn't hurt, right? Medi is about to finish the fight when Medi Mama gets in front of her, shielding Masato. She asks them to leave as she wouldn't let anyone else suffer. She starts with some touching motherly talks, but Medi doesn't want to hear that either and sweeps her away too. As it's too late, Medi Mama doesn't stay down but still continues to try and talk to Medi, even though Medi says she'll never forgive her. Masato notices Medi Mama is different now, and it's obvious she really cares for Medi. He jumps in and shields Medi Mama from the next hit, although Medi Mama would rather not involve anyone. Masato says Medi Mama is the only one who can stop this, but the plan wouldn't work with Medi still on a rampage. He has to do something about that first. He cues Wise and she understands her assignment. She casts a spell that levitates Medi to the sky, readying her for a direct attack from Masato, but Medi Mama's staff comes to Medi's aid, creating a dome to shield her. Masato's attacks are basically useless, and that's when Mamako, the overpowered character, steps in. Mamako rains attacks on the dome till it's shattered. After this is done, she gives Masato the opening to attack. Masato yells to Medi, telling her to speak her mind to the one who cares most for her, her mother. With that, he slashes Medi Mama's staff, deactivating its power. Medi is free and back to her true form, slowly landing from the sky, and Medi Mama is there to receive her. They hug each other, and Medi Mama apologizes genuinely, but Medi bursts out in tears, saying she still can't forgive her. The heat of the battle is gone, and they're all seated, listening to Medi Mama's motherhood story. She has always wanted the best for Medi, but she may have overstressed her. In her attempt to mend their relationship, she decided to join the game, but everything went south. She feels really bad, but Masato consoles her, pointing out that she was under the influence of the staff. The staff brings out the inner desires, so it must have overstrengthened her desire to want the best for Medi. Medi finally speaks her mind. With a hug, she says she'll be happier if Medi Mama cares about her feelings. Medi Mama has about a second of surprise before promising to change. She asks Medi to continue being her daughter, and Medi accepts as they continue their hug. Everyone is happy, but come on, who's gonna compensate for Wise embarrassing herself at the beauty pageantry? A party is thrown to celebrate passing their classes. Medi and her mom have a friendly relationship now, no longer resembling a master and servant dynamic. Masato approaches them with a request. He asks Medi to join his party, not only as their healer but as their friend. This This sounds cool, but Medi Mama doesn't agree. She says she was planning on logging out to delete the legacy she left in the real world about parenting. She doesn't need others following that, but she can't make this decision solely, so she gives Medi a chance to choose who she'd rather go with. Medi takes a moment and then decides to stay behind with Misato and the rest. Bye mom, sorry, but you had me in a chokehold earlier. Misato mentions that Medi may not be able to be his heroine, but she can still be a regular party member. But Medi is confident she's up to the task. Apart from that, Misato is concerned, considering the game requires parents and children, but just then Masumi pops up stating that something can be done about that. She goes ahead to bring up their rewards for completing the task of going to school. There's an option of taking skill points or spinning a wheel for potentially higher rewards. Misato and Wise are hyped for this, but in the end, it's nothing flashy. This leaves them frozen in disappointment. The others are quite satisfied with what they got, while Misato and Wise are in regret. At the end of this, Masumi has another reward for their efforts to protect a mother's bond with her child. Misato is allowed to take another spin at the wheel, but it lands on an apron for his mom. Misato is devastated at first, but after his mom tries it on and loves it, he's cool with it. After they leave, Mamako takes a survey from the game while the others wait. Porter draws their attention to an approaching horde of monsters. Masato is excited. Since his mom is busy, it's his chance to get some action. But before he can even land his attack, Mamako notices the horde, and as usual, she annihilates them in one go. Midi asks if that's how all the fights are for them, and the others confirm so. She calmly excuses herself and takes out her frustration on an innocent rock. She planned on making everyone love her as the party healer, but it looks like that won't happen. Masato says they need to find a way to get stronger than any enemy, and stronger than his mom. Immediately, a flyer is delivered to him out of nowhere. There's a new dungeon, a tower dungeon. Anyone who completes it will be granted any wish they desire. Masato suspects it's a scam, but guess who still showed up? Yup, our guy. The dungeon is huge. Mamako hopes there's an elevator. I mean, can we blame her? A group of women approaches them, asking if they're adventurers. The women complain about their missing kids who ran away, asking for help finding them. Masato and his crew are confused, but Masato knows just the right person to ask, the coffin-loving informant. They take her to a dark alley, and just as Wise is about to do her thing, Midi steals it. Wise is furious like anyone would be, but Midi claims she's the group's healer. Masumi resurrects. Masato assumes it was another bug, but she says it actually saved her from those mothers. That's valid. Anyway, she doesn't know about this dungeon event and needs to find out what's going on, so they go to check it out. Masumi just wants them to help investigate the lower floors, but Masato wants to get to the top and have his wish granted. He wants to wish to become an overpowered famous hero, but Wise interrupts. She claims to have foresight and says that Mamako will make their work easier, and when Masato gets to the top and is about to make his wish, his mother will interrupt and wish for fresh eggs. Masato rejects such a thing happening to him. When they get into the dungeon, they first come across some spiders. Wise doesn't even bother as Mamako will take care of it as usual, but Mamako refuses. Masato thinks she's finally giving him a chance, but he's wrong. Apparently, you're not supposed to terminate any spiders you see in the morning. She even finds them cute and they don't try to harm her. They move on to the next floor. Masato sees a marked tile and steps on it. It's for HP recovery. Porter steps on another tile, which gives her the exit key. Wise is thrilled and sees another tile with a book icon. She assumes it'll boost her magic and steps on it repeatedly, but it's a magic ceiling trap. And what's worse, every step on it increases its duration. Midi is glad to be the party's only caster. Wise is not happy about this, but Masumi assures them that the effect is only within the dungeon. There's one last tile they haven't stepped on. Now they're cautious and ask Masumi what it is, but she only says it'll be best to step on it. Mamako takes the risk despite her son's fear. She gets blown out of the room to the next level. They all join her. They meet Amante. Her cool entrance is interrupted by a terrible fall down the stairs. Oof, that must have hurt good. She pretends she's fine and introduces herself as one of the four fiends of the rebel group, Ribble, Amante, the betrayer of mothers. Then she immediately says that she doesn't have to tell them that. Midi asks for more information and Amante once again says she won't tell them anything. But she goes ahead telling them that Ribble is a group of kids who've rebelled against the mothers and all the adventurers in town have already joined. She suddenly sees Mamako and is startled. For some reason, she is scared of her and runs away. Once again, she slides down the stairs. 1,000 aura points. A group of boys runs out of nowhere and carries her out. Masumi suggests they leave the dungeon as they've gathered enough information. They use the key Porter got and they're out. Masumi informs the group that what they just witnessed was not an in-game event but a serious problem. The missing children are the ones they saw in the tower. She also mentions that someone has been trying to cause problems between families and they can now assume that it's Amante behind this. Midi suspects they must be trying to get a wish granted. Masato won't have that. How could he lose? He says that whatever Amante wants must be evil and that evil must be stopped. However, Mamako's only concern is the kids returning to their mommies. Masato begins to argue, but Wise supports Mamako, adding that getting the kids back will result in fewer people, which means they won't be able to beat the dungeon and can be stopped. The others also agree. Wise realizes that to get them back, they need to reach the floor where they are, which means they'll need more people. Masumi suggests that they form a guild and recruit members. The building she gives them is nothing to write home about. While the others are still in shock, Mamako goes ahead to name it Mommy Guild. Masato is sleeping quite peacefully in the building he just judged. His mom tries to wake him, but he asks for more time. Mamako then kisses him, and he immediately wakes up. It's a special skill, Mother's Wake Up. It can bring someone out of a coma instantly. After breakfast, Masato complains about the place being a mess. Masumi says she forgot to tell them about a small present she gave them to celebrate the founding of their guild. It's in the item storage. She says it's supposed to make the guild a fun place. Then she leaves to continue her investigation. Guess what the present is? Take a wild guess. Wrong. It's maid outfits. Masato is flustered, but he got one too. Only Mamako doesn't have one, so she's the guild master, or should I say, guild momster. Their first agenda is to repair the home. Porter volunteers to use her their item creation skills and some crafting materials to improve the place. They split into 2 groups to make things easier. One group goes shopping while the other stays behind to clean. Porter is hyped about everything, while Masato was brought along just to carry the bags, even though they also have Porter's bag. Mamako tries to tidy Masato's room a bit. Wise tells her she doesn't have to do it, especially since he won't be using the room for long, but Mamako insists she's just happy to make it feel like a home. She suddenly remembers the women with missing kids and feels bad for them. Just then, the doorbell rings. Mamako opens the door expecting her son, but it's not him. At the supermarket, Masato comes across Amante. It looks like she's struggling to keep the necessities stocked up with all those people at the tower. She also wants to get some heating pads to ease the swelling in her bottom. When she sees Masato, they exchange unfriendly hellos. Midi points out that Amante is trying to treat herself after her fall, but it's too late for that. Amante becomes angry, but before she can give her warning, Medi teases her some more. Amante starts wailing and then says she's not going to tell them that she sent an assassin to their base. The others nearly panic, but remember who Mamako is and immediately relax. Suddenly, Wise shows up, asking the others to hurry back to the guild. She says Mamako might lose. Masato, frightened, sprints out. He runs all the way to the house and bursts in, only to find someone trying to sell a crystal ball to his mom. Mamako is about to pay for it when the kids stop her. Masato tells the guy off and scolds his mom as well for letting a shady guy fool her with junk. Porter gets all panicky as she realizes what the crystal ball is, a bomb. The shady guy speeds out immediately. The crystal ball starts glowing and sounds like a crying baby. Wise and Midi pressure Masato to do something. Midi even suggests he jumps into the sea with it. Masato almost agrees, but good thing his senses work in time. While they're still standing around panicking, Mamako picks the bomb up and starts giving it head pats. I'm speechless. She says it's crying like a baby, so the head pats will calm it down. Not so surprisingly, it works. According to Porter, that's another special mom skill. Mother's head pat. She can calm down anybody or anything about to explode. Okay, that sounds right. Mamako thanks Masato for saving her from the salesman, calling him her hero. The team is out on a picnic when Amante shows up. She was waiting for the explosion but never heard it. Wise refers to her as the fool who can't keep her mouth shut. She's being helpful to them. Amante is offended, but when Mamako tries to talk to her, she refuses and runs away instead. Masato yells after her, asking why she even came, and true to Wise's words, she confesses to sending another assassin. Just then, their guild explodes in the distance. The place is a mess when they arrive. Pochi and his minions step out. They're part of the missing kids. Pochi was the shady salesman too. He informs them that he has planted bombs 10 times more powerful in different locations and will blow them up if they don't do as he says. He says just the maids won't do. They need Mamako to be a maid too. Masato doesn't like this, but Mamako is already asking what she has to do. Poki asks for food first. Pochi is already laughing, imagining what Mamako will look like as a maid, but he's flustered when she shows up and the other guys compliment her. Masato can't withstand the torture. Bro looks devastated. Meanwhile, his mom is trying to please some randos. She serves them her special fried rice. Poki doubts it at first until he tastes it and ascends to the sky. The boys are reminded of their moms and suddenly miss them. Porter and the others are enjoying this delicious meal as well, but Masato is still sulking. They're done with the food, and Poki says that alone won't do. He wants to go to the bedroom next. He lies in bed ready for whatever. Masato and the others argue against it, but Poki reminds them of the bomb so they keep quiet. Mamako assures her son not to worry. Then she goes over to Poki. Bro already has his imagination running wild. Mamako gets on her knees and pulls the cover over him to everyone's surprise. Then she starts patting him to sleep. Poki asks what she's doing, and she says it's mommy's bed service, just like he asked. He tries to argue but starts feeling sleepy. He recalls his mom doing the same thing for him on nights he couldn't fall asleep. He thinks about how he's been making his mom sad lately and slowly drifts off to sleep. His friends claim whatever that was wouldn't work on them, but they end up snoring next to him. Masato isn't sure if his mom is amazing or if they're just easy. By evening, the boys are finally leaving. They apologize for the trouble and promise to pick up the other bombs on their way back. Mamako asks them to go home to their moms and they agree to. The party is having its usual birthday suit strategy meeting. Mamako is wondering why Amante is so angry about mothers. Speaking of the devil, Amante barges in yelling at Mamako, asking how dare she send her assassins home to their moms. They ask why she's dressed like that, and she's suddenly conscious and hides behind a rock. Kinda late for that though. Turns out the tower has no bath, and the sea where she used to bathe before is in turbulence. Wise whispers loudly to Midi that she does smell salty. Midi takes it further, adding that her skin's all rough too. Poor Amante, she's even asking them to go easy on her as fellow girls. Somehow she slips on a bar of soap and off goes her towel. She blames Mamako for this, saying she's a dangerous mother standing in their way and says she'll deal with her next time. Before leaving, she asks them not to empty the bathwater. Mazuma shows up the next morning with the townspeople. Pochi's mom gives him a gift to apologize for the trouble the kids caused. She also offers to join them, alongside the other mothers, to clear the tower. On the way, Masato is rethinking the whole thing. A party full of moms doesn't sound right. He's not happy about this arrangement. He prefers Poki and his friends, but they couldn't join them as they had their own things to do. Amante sees them and says it'll be impossible to clear the tower with a group like that, but she has an evil plan in place. Just as they're about to enter, a woman says she left all the windows at home open and has to close them before she's robbed. Or she keeps insisting until the poor boy asks Wise to send her home with her magic and bring her back after. Other women see this and suddenly have things to do at home as well. Amante's plan is to blow them up, but they haven't arrived yet. She decides to check it out, but ends up crashing and mistakenly activating the bombs. There's an explosion. Wise is exhausted and has refused to teleport any more women. Mamako asks her son if clearing the dungeon is fun, but they haven't even stepped in yet. They finally get inside the tower. Wise is totally exhausted. Midi suggests they leave her behind, or better still, throw her into the sea, but Wise doesn't insult her back, so it's not fun. Masato is frustrated. He decides to carry Wise. Wise, and she happily gets on. They begin their journey until they reach a rubble. Masumi says it's better for them as the rubble is perfect for climbing to the next floor. Porter goes up first and everyone else follows. They're gone when Amante regains consciousness, but she has no time to rest as they're already ahead of her. She finds the marked tile and uses it. On the 20th floor, Masato's teammates are bracing themselves as they could be attacked by monsters from here on, but the moms are tired. Mamako suggests they take a break. Meanwhile, Amante is already on the 21st floor and has hidden a clever trap. Whenever someone raises a metal weapon, they'll get struck by lightning. She feels proud of her trap, but gets bored waiting. Just then, a monster appears. Amante pulls out her sword, falling for her own trap. On the 20th floor, these guys are having a meal and chatting. Masato is uncomfortable that they're so relaxed, but his mom assures him that mommies are ready when it counts. He believes her. Mamako asks everyone to bring their dirty plates to be washed. Amante interrupts, stumbling down the stairs. She's pissed about the trap, the mommies, and how long they're taking to go up the tower. Mamako apologizes, saying mothers have many things to do. Amante is raging and challenges Mamako to a washing competition. They make it into a full show, a competition between Mamako and Moronmante. Amante does her best. She claims she's good at all kinds of chores, enough to get by without a mother. She already thinks she's the winner, but Mamako pulls out her sword. You know she's about to cook. She uses the sword to finish the dishes in a few seconds. The judges vote her the winner. Someone's a sore loser and refuses to accept defeat. She wants a rematch, but there are no more plates to wash, so Mamako suggests they wash clothes. Amante agrees, but as expected, she's defeated once again. Amante still refuses to accept her loss, but she flees, promising to finish it next time they meet. The group continues on its journey. When they reach floor 81, there's another marked tile. Meaty wants to use Wise as the scapegoat and successfully pushes her to step on it. Wise panics, but then it feels good. Her body feels lighter. The others step on it too and agree. They do this from floor to floor, and by the time they get to floor 89, Masumi informs them that it's actually a trap that removes equipment. Masato is suddenly aware of his body and now understands why he feels lighter. He asks why she didn't inform him earlier, but Masumi just wanted to lighten up their boring dungeon run. But now they have no armor, and that's a problem. Mamako traumatizes her son some more by showing up like that. Oh, and Masumi had also stepped on the tiles, but she told the other moms not to. Just as Masato complains, they hear lots of monsters behind the door. They get ready to fight. Wise, Medi, and Porter join. The door opens to Amante's annoying face, disappointing the party. She had also fallen for the trap and is only just realizing it. She resorts to plan B, calling out her monsters. Medi and Wise know that from that number, they definitely need Mamako to handle it. Mamako is happy to, and Amante encourages her, but Pochi's mom recognizes her son's mohawk. Amante reveals that the monsters are actually the missing kids. Pochi had returned to the dungeon and tried to get the other adventurers to rise against her, so she changed them all. Pochi's mom pleads for her son's safety, and the other mothers join her. Now Mamako can't attack them anymore. Amante takes advantage of this and asks the kids to attack. However, instead of attacking, they drop their weapons and ask for help from their mothers. Amante, displeased with this, pulls out a gemstone that casts an anger spell on the kids, reminding them of all the things they dislike about their moms. Under the influence of the spell, the children pick up their weapons and charge at their mothers. Amante, satisfied with this development, leaves to put on some clothes. Masato starts brainstorming a solution. Medi casts a barrier to protect the mothers, while Wise launches an attack on the kids. Together, they create a combination attack. Grateful, Mamako thanks them and approaches the other mothers, offering words of encouragement. Although the women blame Amante for the situation, Mamako points out that there is a sense of unhappiness in their children. She relates this to her son feeling the same way. Mamako encourages the mothers to accept their kids and communicate openly with them. Mamako emits some kind of magic that dresses her up, then destroys the anger spell. Each mother is also granted armor, which Masumi explains can withstand any attack from their children. Taking the lead, Poki's mom stands firm against his attacks. She embraces him, and he transforms back to his normal self. The other mothers follow suit, and soon all the children return to their original states. Mamako doesn't miss out on getting a hug as well. On floor 90, Poki tells Masato's party that he tried to take down Amante to atone for what he did. He also tells them that Amante's wish is to erase all mothers from the world. The team continues their journey, running and running through different floors. Meanwhile, Amante has no use for the kids anymore as she can defeat floor 100 alone. She wanted to use them to slow Masato's group. Masato refuses to let Amante's wish be granted. They keep running until the 97th floor, which teleports them. Masato arrives and runs into a wall. Only then does he notice that he's alone. He realizes that this is one of those things you see all the time in RPGs. There's a trap that separates the whole party, little traps and such, but then everyone makes it through the dungeon safely and meets up. Well, I hope it goes that way. Masato seems scared though. He begins walking alone until he hears someone. It's Mamako. Masato is relieved. She tells him she has found the way, but it's a dead end. She's still trying to get him to enter the corner though. One insists. Masato throws a stone in instead, and a bar immediately seals the entrance. Another Mamako calls to him from another corner. Masato realizes it's not his mom and gets back on his way, ignoring all the fakes calling him. He sees the exit, but there's a horde of fake Mamakos behind him. Masato is terrified, but the real Mamako shows up and gets rid of them. The other girls catch up with them. Wise experienced versions of her mom telling her to take a little break, so she blew them up. Medi whacked her own fake mommies with her staff, but Porter just says she was fine too. That's sus. Masato is glad they made it through. They ask how he defeated his, surprised that he was able to hurt his mom's image. But before he can answer, they hear an explosion above them. It seems to be from the next floor, floor 100. They hurry over to find Amante trying to open the door. She had truly taken down the final boss by herself. She notices them and decides to just settle things at once. Mamako asks Porter to hide. Amante wants to pay back Wise and Medi for all the mean things they said about her. The girls defend defend themselves, claiming they were only speaking the truth, but Masato agrees with Amante that they were quite harsh. He then asks Amante about him, thinking she should dislike him the most since he is the leader and a hero. However, Amante doesn't really think about him at all. Masato feels disappointed by this, but Amante adds that she will dislike him as much as possible just because he is Mamoko's son. This response doesn't make him feel any better though. Amante chooses to take Masato down first since he's irrelevant. Midi casts a barrier, but it's useless. Amante moves to Mamako next. Wise tries to attack, and it backfires, flinging them all away. Midi and Wise start arguing, but Mamako and Masato stop them, reminding them to focus. Amante is stronger than they expected. Midi tries her own attack before Masato can stop her. It backfires as well, eliminating the casters. Masato and his mom were not affected because their armors have defense. Masato asks Amante what power she has, and she says it's a skill that reflects attack. Masato is ready to take her down, but his mom steps forward. He holds her back, explaining that if her attack gets reflected, they'll all be wiped out. Amante says Mamako is a troublesome mother and tries to convince Masato to join her. The magic casters have respawned and are ready for action. Wise immediately casts a reflector magic, but Amante casts one back to her. Turns out she can use magic as well. Midi tries to fight but gets flung aside. Amante blames Mamako for Masato's boring experience during their adventure, but Masato defends his mother. He acknowledges that things didn't go as he had hoped. It's been crazy, but it's still an adventure. He says that it's their adventure, and they choose to continue it with Mamako. Mamako is touched by this. She listens as Masato asks her not to take the spotlight too much from now on, and she agrees. Before anything else, she asks Amante why she harbors such a dislike for mothers. Amante responds that she refuses to believe mothers exist and wishes to eliminate all of them. This upsets Mamako, who feels the urge to scold Amante. Masato, feeling betrayed, wants to prevent his mother from stealing the spotlight again, but he is held back. With just a single finger, Mamako sends an attack that Amante can't reflect. Porter explains that it's called Mom Says No, the ultimate explosion of maternal love when a mother scolds someone she truly cares for. Amante survives the attack, but she's pretty much burnt. She calls Mamako crazy and runs off to get her wish. Masato arrives and needs to make a wish before Amante. He's racking his brain for a wish, which I don't understand because he had all the time to think about it earlier. Mamako reminds him of what Wise said when they first arrived at the tower. Masato then goes ahead to ask for enough fresh eggs for everybody, but then he doesn't want that. However, what's wished is wished, and the eggs appear. Just one crate. One! Mamako is happy about tomorrow's breakfast, but Amante is livid. She tries to make her wish, but it's too late. The quest has been completed. She runs off angrily. Masato is terribly disappointed as well. While in a carriage, Amante is still pissed that she failed. She'd rather not talk to the other four fiends, but she has no choice. She refuses to give up and vows to defeat Mamako. The next morning, Mamako makes good use of their 100-level Dungeon Tower quest prize. Masato still feels disappointed. Masumi praises them for a job well done. She still hasn't received much details about the rebels, but she got her hands on the dark item Amante was using, which is the same as what Medimama used. She'll do a thorough investigation. Masumi also points out that there are 3 more enemies from the rebel group, so she'd like them to keep up the good work. She announces that she has prepared a new quest to defeat the rebel group Ribble. Masato and his people have to leave the city for the next quest. The townsfolk have even built a monument of Mamako. Poor Masato.